It's time for our final showdown, question mark? Dramatic pause. Dramatic pause. Very well. Court is now back in session. Are you ready, Apollo? I am. I know you'll do your best. But this is a battle you won't win. We'll see. I'm not the kind of man that gives up on the first sign of trouble, you know? But then again, neither are you. That's what they always told me. Here we go, Polly. I know that. You'll make it. Is that just you being polite? I can always tell you to crash and burn, you know? Very well. Mary Adair, you were accused of the murder of Ian Ards. The basis for this accusation was the fact that you not only lied to this court, but you are the only possible culprit under the circumstances. You've chosen to plead innocent. So, show us a reason to doubt my case against you. And let's bring this to an end. Eh? Excuse me? How come you're so tall, Mary? That's because I'm older, silly. But only by a few months. It's not fair. Yeah, I know, sweetie. But some things are just like that. Unfair. You're shorter than me. Deal with it. I'm sorry, ruining the moment. Like Daddy? Oh. Yep. Some people will underestimate you because of that, you know? If you don't get tall enough, people will think you're small. That's kind of a no-brainer, sis. Not necessarily like that. They'll think that you can't stand up and fight for yourself. They'll think they can walk all over you. And no matter what happens, you can't let them think that. Well, that sounds painful, I guess. But I'll have you to help me out too, right? You won't let them think I'm small, right? Of course. Always be there for you. Oh, okay. Woohoo! You lied. Well, suppose it wasn't your fault. It's his. It's always been his. Even now that he's still trying to even now that he's still trying to control my life. But he can't. Not anymore. Your theory, Apollo, it doesn't work. In fact, it's so easy to break, I'll do it in 2 moves. Made in 2. Alright. Let's do this. Your entire theory is based around the fact that the bullet came from the victim's right side, correct? So what if I was simply mistaken about it? That's it? By no means, my dear Apollo. Of all the flaws in your theory, this one seemed the most obvious one. Why are you smiling? Remember, things aren't like they used to be. You're being watched now. You can't smile, they'll think you're enjoying it. That looks bad, no matter how you look at it. Eyes forward, chin up, hands down. He's smarter than he let on. He'll be able to break this down in no time. Really? Are you sure about that? That's okay, I'm just getting started anyways. I mean, obviously the plot dictates that we're going to be breaking it down, but I have no clue how to go about doing that. A nonsensical theory deserves to be broken down by something like this, I'd say. But you're a police detective. How could you overlook something like that? Human error. According to you, I have a stronger connection to the victim than I've led this court to believe. Hence, I have a stronger emotional connection to this case. And emotions cloud people's judgments, Apollo. Not to mention, it's only been a few months since I joined the force. My word can't really be taken as gold. And hey, could have just gotten nervous. Hold on. Could you have made a mistake, or did you make a mistake? I'm afraid I honestly can't remember. A shame we don't have the body. But it would have told us the entire story. And stopped your theory from forming in the first place. Don't get too cocky now. If she were the culprit, wouldn't the logical course of action for her have been simply claim the bullet entered from the opposite side since the beginning? And surely she'd have known better than to incriminate herself. Assuming she is as cunning as you claim her to be, at least. Good point. Not like there's anyone that can really prove her wrong. I must say I'm disappointed, Mary. After all, isn't it a bit early to assume something like that would stop me? Stop smirking, you sarcastic twin-horned waste. Didn't you hear me just now? You don't get to have my life. Well. Oh, there we go. His right side being the left side when looking at the body from the front. What if we were culprit to be on the other balcony, as you suggest? The bullet indeed had to have come from that side. Of course, you could claim that the bullet could have been on the other side of the body as well. But then you bring your own client's innocence into question. Additionally, you can't claim that the victim happened to turn around at the last minute. It's something my client would have taken notice of. So in conclusion, yes? Your theory does require the bullet to have been on the specific side of the body, yes? I suppose it does. No suppose. Yes or no, Apollo? Don't tell me you're actually going to suggest you can get around that. These are your own words, Justice. If you cannot abide by them, then we're right back where we started. The suspicion would fall right back on your client. Fair enough. I acknowledge that much. The bullet had to be on the victim's right side. Or the, leftward looking at it from the front. You sounded pretty sure of yourself the first time you brought it up. As I said, I might have been just confused. I haven't gotten a wink of sleep since it happened, and the stress wasn't helping either. Stress? Taking the stand isn't all sunshine and rainbows, Apollo. Especially when your testimony is helping to bring down a colleague. Something you know he didn't do, no less. Come now, Justice. You should know better than to say things like that by now. The prosecution accepts Miss Adair's explanation as a valid one. Right. After all, it doesn't matter where the bullet went for your case. Oh, I wouldn't say that. The bullet found its way to the other side, and your original contradiction that led you here falls apart. Doesn't that just suck for you? Because if I was wrong, and your client was telling the truth, he really did shoot arts. I won't let you frame him. Not doing anything but establishing my innocence. You're the one with an insane scenario trying to pin the crime on me. Mary. Polly's theory works. And that head of his, sure. Too bad he can't prove it with squat. So the only way he can possibly prove himself right is to prove me wrong. Simple enough, isn't it? Of course there's a chance this could stop him. He isn't buying it, obviously, but it's proving your point that's the hard part, isn't it? At the end, I guess it doesn't really matter. It isn't bluffing. We're just getting warmed up. Well, I got no clue what to do. That would be just perfect. After all, if you happen to be mistaken about the position of the bullet, then your entire examination of the body comes into question. I'm not sure how much of it can really come into question. I mean, I might have gotten confused over the position of the wound. But that doesn't change much. He was still dead. I don't see any other piece of information I could have brought up that could come into question. Oh? But I do? No other piece of information, you say? But Mary, that simply isn't true. Okay, I just presented the body twice. It's the second piece of information he presented us. The fact that the victim could have lived for about 10 seconds or so. If your examination wasn't done well, you could have been wrong about it too. That, huh? I completely BS'd my way to that. Sure, by all means. Uh-huh. Want that in writing? I don't follow, Mary. Oh, come now, use your head. It did take 10 seconds that he died instantly. That's what you have to be suggesting, since him living longer doesn't change anything. Well, if he lived longer, then surely there would be more evidence pointing to it. Even if there is, the only time that would make a lick of difference would be after the door was broken down. In that case, there had to be someone that noticed it. And I might have been under shock, but I'm not stupid, Apollo. Not to mention, how does one play dead with a bullet in his stomach again? Of course, there's some crack theory that you can come up with that say the victim was never shot to begin with. Something that I was in on the whole thing. That scenario wouldn't make me a murderer. Not to mention the entire balcony trick would have been pointless. And Nathaniel's testimony would seem off. So then the only possible thing you might be suggesting is that the victim died instantly. If the victim died instantly, and there's a piece of evidence that proves somewhere someone here is a liar. You mean you? How but according to you, I already am a liar. Come on, it's obvious, really. If the victim died instantly, then this piece of evidence that brands someone a liar here is... feel like the answer is testimonies in some ways. How do we go about it? The floor plan? Come on, Apollo, it's not that hard. The evidence that brings someone a liar here is... balcony? Door? Master key? Mr. Marston's testimony. Okay. Correct. Why? After all, he claimed that the victim literally walked back into the room. He had to have been alive for at least a little bit for that to be possible. Especially if he made it to the balcony, as you claim he did. So, how am I the liar here again? Objection withdrawn. I'd think before I speak if I were you. What? You penalized me for that? Bullshit. I mean, come on. I've been wrong about the actual side of the body, but he was still shot around the stomach. That doesn't really call for an instant death now, does it? Oh, I didn't even do that. Oh, alright. That worked. Just picked Arts' body. What if indeed? Something wrong, Justice? Or Arts' profile? Well, he had objections, I imagine there must be. His mind, at least. No, it's just that... This kind of seems like a repeat to me. In terms of how I'll actually go about proving you wrong. See, Mary, this argument really was a checkmate to me in a way. I have no body. Hence, I have no way of conclusively proving where the actual wound was. At this point, all we had was your word. Word we trusted. In that case, your word is evidence in a way. Then I remembered that it doesn't apply to only you. There are 5 people in that mansion. All those 5 people, dead or alive, were gathered in one single room. At one specific time. When the body was found. Body is the key word here, Mary. Because while it's true you were the one who performed the initial examination, so that doesn't mean they never actually saw it. I mean, if they didn't, I doubt they'd be so confident to claim the man was dead. Hence, if they saw it, might have seen the position of the gunshot wound. Bingo. Your Honor, the defense wishes to hear from the witnesses on the matter. At least one of them can provide us with an account of where the wound was. And this dilemma will be solved. Are you confident in that, Justice? Last time you chose to put your faith in their statements, it ended up backfiring on you. I don't believe hearing the truth could hurt my case, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, I'm not stopping you, by all means. I'm really waiting for the inevitable. Which is? It's inevitable. You'll find out either way. Oh, you fucking tease. Well, I suppose it couldn't hurt. Please don't make any rash decisions, Your Honor. Because in the end, what Mr. Justice is trying to sell you here is nothing more than faulty logic. What? Don't let him fool you. What he's basically just said is, Your Honor, is I don't know if I'm right. I believe that falls under a textbook definition of a bluff, right? It's not really a bluff if the evidence to support it or deny it is right outside the door. Yeah, about that. How many times do you intend to call people back to the stand, exactly? As many times as I need to. So they can do your work for you? I think not. Your Honor, there's no need to call any of them both to the stand. Since I guarantee none of them can answer Mr. Justice's question. That's so. How exactly do you know that? Don't you know objectively what they saw? After all, you don't even know what you yourself saw. Let me explain, will you? You can concur that, on the first glance, one might expect they could have seen the world. On further examination, that's impossible. See, they didn't really need to take a close look at the boy since he was dead. The mere sight of the silhouette was enough. On the other hand, I was the one who actually walked to the body and said the words, "He's gone." That's a good look at McNulty and me. They themselves never took a good look at the body themselves. What was I just saying there? What was that sentence? At least not good enough so that they could tell the position of the gunshot wound. That's a ridiculous argument. You're again basing this on what you think they saw, rather than what they know they saw. They still could have glanced across and seen the body. The reason I said a silhouette just now, Apollo. Did you know the one thing I noticed was repeated on more than one occasion today? The state of the actual room. Specifically, the lights. They were out the entire time, weren't they? They were. Closer investigation discovered that the reason behind that was a faulty light bulb. The reasons behind it are irrelevant, admittedly, but helpful. That means that when we found the body, we never managed to turn the lights on. Hence, the entire room was still in the dark. And as such, you're claiming it's unlikely that they could have seen the wound. Without closer examination, of course. But none of them really did. They were too focused on the defendant to keep track of him. The living are far more valuable than the dead, after all. And hey, if Marston is found guilty, I guess there won't be much difference between the two. Huh. I'm afraid I don't really see why you're so resistant to the idea, Miss Adair. If you're afraid that you were confused or mistaken, we could just determine the truth. We'll end up making a colossal waste of time. And if it is, I'll be the one testing. I'll be the one taking the responsibility. Your Honor, all Mr. Justice has been doing through this entire trial is grasping for straws. You're not wrong. The accusation, this very situation, is no different. Personally, I do not wish to see this turned into Mr. Justice's little puppet show. I have presented a logical argument as to why this request is a waste of time. Letting him go through with it anyway would be unprofessional of this court. Sorry, Apollo. As long as I have a chance of fighting, do so to the bitter end. Just have no choice then. First off, let me see if I got this right. You're saying that because the room was in complete darkness, they couldn't see the wound. You're saying that they technically could have if they got it close to the body. You're saying that they didn't, considering that they were too occupied with the defendant. More or less. The balcony was open. It makes sense to me, Polly. Well, that's to be expected. Since you weren't here for the beginning of the trial. The beginning? Yeah. See, one of the things she said isn't actually true. Ah. Standing right here, you know. Mary. The claim about the witnesses not being able to see the wounds contradicts a piece of evidence, the balcony. There we go. The room was truly as dark as you say. There still should have been a way for them to clearly see the body. What? Even in complete darkness, there's always a light to show us the way. body could have been illuminated by that moonlight. Are you even aware of how silly that sounds? Silly in the sense that it's improbable, I imagine. Remember, at the time the balcony itself was open. That means at the time the body must have been exposed to the night sky. Quite poetic. Why, thank you, Apollo. And Daddy actually noticed he has potential, too. Somebody didn't want to use that talent to get rich. Boys don't make that much money, Trucy. That is still improbable. Still can't prove that they could have actually seen the wound. You're just making us go around in circles here. Well, honestly, we could just ask the witnesses and have it confirmed here and here. Have it your way. Well, I can't show that they could have seen the wound. I can at least show they could have clearly seen the body thanks to the moonlight. I don't know. Or plan? That proves what exactly? I think it speaks for itself. And why is that? Because you can. Can't prove that. I don't need to. The evidence already did that quite well on its own, I think. So it does speak for itself. Against you, yes. Ow! That hurt. Okay, I'm doing... is it Marston's testimony? I can do so through Mr. Marston's... Okay. The answer lies in this specific testimony, number 1 and number 2. Imagine number 2, since number 1 he claimed it's the dark, so number 2, the second one. According to Mr. Marston, after Mr. Arthur was shot, he walked a few steps backwards. That makes sense. After all, it explains how the body found its way into the room. However, given the fact that at the time Mr. Arts had a bullet wound in his chest, a limited lifespan to let go with it, those few steps couldn't have landed him that far from the balcony. Since the balcony was open at the time, the outside light must have shined on him. Hence, it couldn't have been just a silhouette of the body, Mary. You could have seen the body, as could everyone else. Therefore, you can't tell me that there's no way the others couldn't have seen the wound. Your argument doesn't even hold up. Your Honor, the only person trying to waste our time here is Miss Adair. Call the witnesses to the stand and let's determine the position of the wound. Afraid I must concur with Mr. Justice in this case. You claim you can't remember the position of the actual wound. Presented with a chance to establish what is and isn't, you fought it. I say that makes you somewhat suspicious. There's a hint of doubt in the jury's mind that it's bad for my own case. Bring them to the stand and get this over with. Do not test my patience, Miss Adair. I, for one, believe this simple crime has been twisted beyond recognition. For that, Justice, you are the only one to blame. As such, we must bring clarity into this mess. The wound really was, as I originally stated. That would mean there's still a possibility that the defendant didn't do it. And we'll prove Mr. Marston guilty, one way or another. I'm not afraid of the facts. What they will do is help me ensure that my accusation is, without a doubt, the truth. Now, with all due respect, Step aside and let me do my job. Well. Start with you, then. Great choice, I'm sure. Been following this trial up to this point, I'm sure. I imagine it'd be hard not to. And again, I could always go for a drink and swing back for the verdict, if I have the time. Cute. Mr. Marston, did you, as the defense suggests, perhaps see the wound on the body? I don't really recall him ever suggesting that. Besides, why the hell are you asking me? The defendant, wouldn't it be in my best interest to say whatever helps me? It's also in your best interest not to make a confession, but you did it anyway, so... fair enough. I'm afraid I can't tell you much. The truth will be enough, Mr. Marston. That's part of the problem. He doesn't know. To be perfectly honest here, I barely got a good look at the guy. Bit too busy with, being dazed and getting my ass beat by one or two people, That's understandable. Not a bit vulgar for my taste, but there you go. Next, Mr. Smith. Yes, my master. Won't even bother anymore. Mr. Smith, did you happen to see the body? Bloody hell, of course I saw it. What kind of a moron could willingly testify about a dead guy in the room? Not actually seeing the dead guy. Yes, but did you take a good look at it? Might have taken a step or two closer. And? You see the wound? It was a bit hard to miss. With all the blood trail down it and whatnot. Oh. The image of it hurts my head, to be perfectly honest. Very well then. What side was the wound on when looking from the front? Left or right? Left or right? Left or right? Well, if memory serves me, it was... the left. Score 1 for Polly. 1-0-1. We win 1. 1 win, no losses, 1 draw. You're sure? Nah. Could have been on his head, and I'd have been none the wiser. Great. Thanks. 0-0-1. But hey, at least I put a smile on that young lady's face. Me? Oh, I didn't actually see you there. I was talking about... Oh, right, Mr. Lawyer. My bad. Oh, what? Okay. Anyway, sorry, bro. I got nothing. Bro. I mean, sir. Get out. That's 2. Very well, then. The last person is... Hey, Athena. Miss me, Apollo? Ah, this absence makes the heart grow fonder, I know. Fonder's the actual absence, don't worry. I believe you know the question before you. Yep. Fascinating question, no doubt. Then can you actually answer it? You know, just, we know. Before you happen to waste my time. But I thought time wasting was your forte, Apollo. And I imagine making people angry is yours. Oh, sup, Jersey? That was a pretty nice save you made back there. You even struck a cool pose and everything. And again, you are a performer. Guess showing off's your bread and butter, huh? I was helping my brother. Right, of course. I give you credit, Apollo. And trusting a 16-year-old brat to save your case is a new one. Don't you dare talk to her like that. But I'm not. I'm talking to you. She's still the best part of this case. She's an absolute ass, but she's the best part of this case. You think I'll stand here and listen to you insult the people I love? I'm not doing anything, Apollo. Alright, fine, I take it back. And she's not a brat. If anything, I have to give her credit. She's pretty brave. Okay, I do like how we're supposed to be treating Mary as a foil for Athena. The hate sink that we want to be guilty versus the charming sink that we want to be Apollo's new best friend, I guess, with Mary. It turns out Mary actually has a dark relation to the victim and did the killing. Well, Athena just has a dark relationship with Apollo and did a lot of fucking around with Apollo's head. I feel like my one gripe with Mary's place in this story so far is that we're like missing the middle ground. Like, dude, you purposely held back the middle ground of the story of Apollo and Mary's relationship in order to put us through the Athena swerve. Like, you purposely held what would have been an interesting portion of developing the Mary story through more flashbacks, just to have that witness testimony segment where Athena fucks with us and then Apollo plays the Uno reverse card and says, "Nah, I actually didn't buy into any of it. I know you're innocent. Fuck off." We probably could have done both effectively. In fact, it probably would have been more effective to... I say this not even knowing what the middle ground in that timeline is, but I feel like I guess that would have been nice to have a bit more. And it probably would have made the Athena swerve and the Mary accusation more effective. But we'll see what we get. We're obviously getting close, but we'll see what we get. What with walking around the public dressed like that? Okay, that's it.
Hold it!
Please calm down, Justice. Miss Sykes' personal attacks against anyone will not be tolerated. Be the first time you said that. He was gonna attack me. Stop provoking him. Well, I personally wouldn't mind seeing a throwdown, but just answer the question, please. Did you or did you not see the position of the wound? I did. Is she gonna fuck with us, or is she gonna tell the truth? Heh. What? You know, it occurred to me I could just lie. Say the first thing that came to mind just to piss you off to high heaven. Make you crawl and beg and whatnot. But you know what? Today, give you a break. Because I don't know what you think of me, Apollo. Maybe you view me as a monster. Maybe I'm the big bad wolf. Either way, I'm still human, believe it or not. And you know what all humans want, Apollo? They want to have some fun. Letting you die here just to screw with you is boring. What do I get from it anyway? I don't want you to hate me, per se. I just need you all nice and pissed off. So that, like the best of animals, you get to go after your prey. What the hell are you talking about? Ah, never mind. We'll play later. Now I just want you to entertain me. Your Honor? What the bloody hell were you talking about, lady? Miss Adair was certainly not mistaken in her original claim. When I saw the body, the bullet wound was on its left side. Are you absolutely sure of that? What? Don't you believe me? Somehow from that speech I'm forced to doubt it. My speech implied that saying the bullet was on the other side would be a lie. This, on the other hand, is the truth. Or do you not consider me trustworthy, Mr. Edgeworth? I am your witness, don't forget. Your Honor, please don't listen to her. The other two didn't remember. I doubt she's any different. I believe she's only doing this out of her own personal amusement. Hang on, Apollo. I got this. You're the one being accused of murder here, young lady. Sure, I might be lying for no valid reason. Don't you think it's convenient that you just so happen to forget the element of the crime which makes you a possible killer? It's a hypothetical. Yeah, sure, and Apollo doesn't have a raspy voice. Just let it happen, Apollo. Anyway, if it was, then what's the big deal? It just so happened to be that hypothetical situation didn't occur. If you're an innocent, trustworthy witness, then surely there's something else you can use to prove yourself innocent, no? Your Honor, please. OMG, you don't? Guys, I think we might just have the best culprit ever right here. I didn't kill anyone. In that case, I suggest you stop playing with the could-haves and couldn't-haves and start actually fighting. I mean, let's face it, the more you stammer around this point, the bigger are the chances you'll slip up and expose yourself for the jury. At which point, it doesn't matter what Apollo says or does. Their gut will tell them you did it. Well, my gut would make you the more likely suspect. Except perfect alibi, baby doll. Why don't you get yourself one of those? Ah, that's right. You can. Oh. Is it because you suck? Athena, please. Thank you, Miss Sykes, for your contribution. You may now leave the stand. Huh? But I was having fun. Just do as he says. Please. Gotcha. I knew you loved me. Anyway, have fun. I'll see you soon. Oh, Athena. Well, that was weird. Your Honor, Miss Adair. Much as Miss Sykes is starting to gradually creep me out, she does have a point, I'm afraid. I do not believe that the argument regarding you possibly mistaking the wound is strong. Goddamn woman. Still, that's far from proving her a murderer. It is. Alright, guess the easy way isn't an option here. So, game on, Apollo. Apollo, you accused me as a suspect a bit too quickly. It's clear you never thought about the details. Details, huh? I thought about all the details. I thought about every possible detail. From every possible angle. Let's start with something simple, shall we? I could not have thought about the details any possibly more than I already have, Mary. Seriously, what the fudge? New music, uh-oh. Fine, let's assume the bullet really was on the side, and I wasn't mistaken. Your theory still has a bunch of problems. Let's talk about that hypothetical silenced gun. How exactly would I get in possession of one? Furthermore, how exactly would I have gotten rid of it? My person was searched after the crime, and nothing resembling a gun found on me. You do realize we're, at the mansion whose address is 123 Giant fucking Abyss Cliff Street. True, she was searched along with all the other witnesses. No gun was found on her person. You're not sounding very sure, Mary. Seems like you're asking me to point out the obvious here. By all means, please do. I assure you, I won't let this one just slide out the door. Just you and me now. And you're going down. I still really wish that we got more development of their relationship before we did the Athena twist. That would have made all this internal banter all that much better, I think. As if we had more than just that one meeting of theirs. that was never elaborated on. I'm glad we agree. It's not so much agreeing as much as forced to concur. If it were up to me, I wouldn't have accepted Sykes' explanation. I think if it were anything else, you wouldn't have either. Why? I accepted her alibi earlier, though. Mary, it doesn't matter who is telling me something and what I feel towards them. It's what they tell me that matters. Well, I'm telling you that I'm innocent, and you don't seem to be listening to it. Because it's not true. Why don't you prove it? See, I don't think you can, after all. Which are? You really should wait for people to finish. And even when I'm trying to point by point, you'd still somehow fail to hear me through. Okay, so. What about it? Jesus Christ, Apollo, will you let me fucking finish? What if it wasn't actually a gun? Eh? You know, I can always ask for someone to throw you out of a window, Justice. I mean, honestly, what's next? You're going to suggest that it was all a witch's doing? I'm just saying, we're missing the body, aren't we? The reason we're assuming it's a gun is because the defendant used one. But he missed. He didn't actually shoot anyone. I'd say that's pretty subjective of you. Right, but think about it. What if it wasn't a gun? Then it really would have been silenced by default, no? Well, I mean, it'd depend on the type of weapon, but... Throwing wild theories in the air and hoping one of them sticks, are we? Sure, why not? We've been doing a fine job of making this trial a farce. But see, here's the thing, Apollo. No matter what I used, gun or weapon X, you're still lacking the most important thing, proof. I imagine how a lot of people would. Possibly through the black market or something of the sort. By that logic, you could be carrying a gun in your pocket right now. It's easy to say you had it. I'm trying to ask of you, Apollo, is actual evidence. Can you prove I had a gun? And I'd say had would be a key word in this scenario. After all, wherever she got it, she obviously doesn't have it anymore. That's right. It's not really impossible or anything. I think there were a lot of ways you could have done it. Name one. Granted, I've got no right to be sounding smug, especially considering the answer to that question is extremely obvious. If he can't see it, I somehow don't have the intention of pointing it out to him. So then what was? What did you have on you? Well, for one, that dress. I'm afraid I didn't really have the time or the energy to change after all the questioning. As you can see, it doesn't have much carrying space. I believe Miss Adair mentioned only the existence of a single pocket. Pocket. Yeah. That one's there for my wallet, basically. Wait, didn't you have a purse or something with like that? This wasn't a social gathering as far as I was concerned, Apollo. This was a matter of the past. Put the dress on simply out of manners. But that still doesn't mean you couldn't have concealed a gun on your person. Obviously. Just that one was never found on me. Aside from the mentioned wallet, a train ticket, and the actual invitation, you found nothing else of interest on her person. Interest has a wide meaning around here. You're right. I should be more specific. Found nothing else at all. What? Wow. Never thought I'd meet a woman who would carry so little. Especially to a party of all things. See, Apollo. It's impossible for me to pull off this murder. Unless it was one of those magic guns. You know, like one of those you could form with your mind. Judge, please. Oh, perhaps doing it, like with a magnetic ring. I'm relatively certain that would cause a repulsiveness to the color yellow, Your Honor. What? What is that a reference to? Green Lantern? And why is that? Never mind. You cannot appreciate classic literature. Classic literature. Oh, we looped. Well, let's do the obvious answer here. Bridge, since that has the giant abyss picture. Correct. Really? Are we really going to have this discussion? Like, am I the one that needs to point this out? Whatever are you talking about, Apollo? You take a look at this mansion. This enormous mansion surrounded by practically nothingness. And ask yourself, how can I get rid of things? Oh, and let's say for the sake of the matter that at the time you happen to be standing on a balcony after you shot someone. What is the first thing that comes to mind? Launching the gun into space? I'd shut up. Man, this is tough. Can I ask for a lifeline or something? You throw it into the mentioned nothingness. I mean, this is a no-brainer. You took the gun and you threw it into the abyss. Simple as that. You're right. It is simple. So simple, in fact, that you managed to miss the bigger issue. Eh? I didn't, actually. I'm still perfectly aware of the bigger problem here. After all, you can't throw away something you might never have had to begin with. Right on the money. It's one thing to show how something happened. It's another thing to prove that that is exactly what happened. You never had the gun. Simple as that. That's the real problem here, Apollo. And I'm not sure you can get past. Let's just play a hypothetical here. That is wrong. No, that's wrong, damn it. I mean, come on, my argument's totally legit. Okay, I'm pretty sure someone was just really lazy on this one, so that perhaps the next one you'll unavoidably see will be better. Good. All right. Well, then again, the handgun does say that it was his police weapon. So, she has a police weapon, right? You didn't need to get into possession of one. Because the truth is, you already had one. Oh. Huh. Your Honor, may I remind you who this gun belongs to? That gun? It's the defendant's, isn't it? Correct. Where did he get this gun from? Because it was issued to him? It was issued to him because he's a... You can do it, Judge. Oh no, maybe it's not. Fucking hell, Judge. Your Honor, please answer the question. He's a police officer. Yes. Yes, he is. Well, the detective, to be more precise. Now let's look at you, Miss Adair. You are by trade a... What is this? Mad libs? Lame-ass edition? A police officer. Well, a detective, actually. As a detective, just like Mr. Marston, you must have a gun! Good job, Judge. A gun. You used your own gun for the murder. Thank you for not reusing the original objection theme for this endgame. I was waiting for it. I dig this, though. Christ, I think my ears are starting to bleed. The music is really loud. Oh, yeah, no, yell some more. That'll help him. That sounds completely ridiculous. What kind of a criminal would use something the police know they own? Not to mention having that something suspiciously disappear after the murder. A police department would actively seek to incriminate someone when they have what's basically a perfect suspect. Mr. Adair went to a party as far as they're concerned. With Mr. Marston in play, I doubt they would have dug deeper into her connection with Mr. Arndt. Hence, they wouldn't suspect there would have been any reason for her to, say, bring a gun. Much less so, considering they never found anything incriminating on her. So why even bother with it? Your logic only applies if she somehow could have relied on Mr. Marston being arrested. Fine, there's also another way to look at it. Mr. Marston was never caught, or never in the actual mansion. Tell me, what police department would choose to go after one of their own? Surely at the least the shady lawyer would have been a better pick. You can't assume that. No, but I'd bet you she could. And now, there suddenly becomes a very easy way to prove he had a gun that night. Tell me, Mary, can you provide us with your police-issued gun? If you can, then I'm wrong, and the matter is settled. But if you can't, that'll mean that the reason you can't is because you ended up disposing of it sometime on the night of the murder. Of course, you could claim you lost it, but I think that'd be a little hard to swallow in this situation. I suppose so. Well, can you do that? Can you produce your gun to the court? No, I can't. Then that's that. Night of the crime, you... I can't produce it. Because I was never issued one. Oh. Well. What? Oh, it's a long story. Something about stupid people trying to take away guns from police officers. Oh, nice. I honestly forget these days. Doesn't matter. Point is, I never got one. You were Q all along. Which means, yet again, she's missing a murder weapon to commit the crime with. Come on, do you think I'd make it that easy? Mr. Edgeworth, is that really true? Well, she never issued one. Oh, yes. It's one of the first things I learned about her. It's, I'm afraid, one of the result of the recent firearm distribution issues. Because they're so rare to come by, the production has been minimized. To the point where police departments are having trouble acquiring certain ones. The problem is being handled, yes, and it's a relatively small one in comparison to others, but until then, certain police officers that haven't received their firearms are being put on, as they'd say, desk jobs. For their own safety, of course. You knew? Of course I knew. Granted, it didn't happen to cross my mind until a few minutes ago, but I suppose I chose just the right time to remember it. You've got to be kidding me! Well, as Mr. Edgeworth said, it would have been pretty stupid of me if I used it anyway. It's wrong if I'm taking some small satisfaction in this. So now, do tell me, how exactly is this crime possible for me? I couldn't shoot someone if I didn't have a gun, you know? Hold on. I'm willing to agree that you didn't get the gun officially. Oh, goody. Maybe it happened to fall from the sky? The best you can suggest now is a blind guess. A blind guess you still wouldn't be able to support with evidence. After all, I don't think it's possible to prove if I got a gun through means X. And I probably would have been smart enough to get rid of the receipt, no? But all that depends on what you're thinking, I suppose. And that's the most important part now. What do you think now, Justice? Got nothing. I guess there was no way she could have gotten it after all. Polly, what are you doing? Weren't you paying attention just now? If you can't prove she got the gun, then you can't prove she had it. If you can't prove she had it, then you can't prove she did anything. Well, that's fair enough. I'm not sure what I can really do here. Think! There must have been some other way for her to get it. Not how she got it, that's the problem. It's backing it up with proof. Think of a method that would have to leave something. It's a gamble at best. There's a number of ways like that, and I have no way of knowing which one's the truth. I'm trying to narrow it down based on this specific situation. Which is, well, you have a circle of police officers involved, missing body, case from long ago that somehow ties everyone into this, and a psycho lawyer. I know who you're talking about, but with the way you're looking at me. Mr. Justice, I'm not sure how I feel about stalling. Please, answer the question already. Alright, I have an alternative. One which I can support with proof. Oh, I'm just dying to hear this. What if he actually caught on to the possibility? No, there's no way you could possibly guess something like that. It has to be something which could leave behind evidence. Or maybe it's again the other way around. Maybe my proof can come naturally by the absence of the gun itself. Ain't you disposed of it either way? It's gonna be Ian Arts' gun collection, isn't it? I think she really got it from the black market. Honestly, I doubt that too. She really doesn't strike me as the type of person with connections to it. Wherever she got it, it had to have been convenient for her. So, maybe the gun... Could it be? Would that really work? And again, maybe. This is how you got the gun.